It all started about 6 months ago. I live on the third floor of a pretty standard apartment building. Nothing fancy, just your average one-bedroom in a city that's too expensive. My window looks out onto the street, and across from me is another building, same height. You can see into some of the apartments, but I don't really pay much attention to that kind of thing. Everyone minds their own business for the most part. One night, I was working late at my desk, right next to the window. It was one of those nights where the city was unusually quiet. No cars, no late-night party noise, just a rare moment of peace. I glanced out the window to stretch my eyes, and that's when I saw him, the man standing in the window across from mine. At first, I didn't think much of it. He was just standing there, staring out of his window, looking down at the street. I figured he was probably doing the same thing I was, just taking a break from whatever he was doing. But then I noticed something weird. He wasn't moving at all. Like, at all. Not even a shift in weight or a head turn, just standing perfectly still, facing the street. I watched him for a few minutes, feeling kind of awkward, but also a little curious. You know that feeling when you don't want to stare, but you can't help it? That was me. After a while, I convinced myself I was being paranoid. Maybe he was just deep in thought or something. So I got up, went to bed, and forgot about it. The next night, same thing. I'm at my desk, working late, and I glance out the window, and there he is again. Same spot, same posture, staring out the window like a statue. But this time, something felt wrong. He wasn't even blinking. I don't know how to explain it, but there was something off about the way he stood there. It was too still, too rigid. I told myself it was just a coincidence. Maybe he was some night owl like me, zoning out after a long day. But the third night, that's when it got really weird. I was starting to feel uneasy about the whole thing, so I made a point not to look out the window. I tried to focus on my work, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he was there. You know how sometimes you can just feel when someone's watching you, even if you're not looking at them? That's how I felt. I hadn't even glanced outside, but I knew he was standing in that window. I finally gave in and looked. Sure enough, there he was. Same position, same blank stare. But this time, he was facing my window. I froze. For a good few seconds, I didn't know what to do. He wasn't doing anything threatening, just watching. His face wasn't angry or smiling, just totally expressionless. But it was like his eyes were locked on me, and I swear they didn't even flicker. It creeped me out so much that I closed my blinds and went to bed. Over the next few nights, it became a weird routine. I'd catch him standing there, sometimes facing the street, sometimes facing me, always still, always silent. I started telling my friends about it just in passing, and they all laughed it off. Maybe he's a mannequin, one of them joked. Or a sleepwalker, said another. I wanted to laugh with them, but there was something about it that just didn't feel funny. I started paying more attention, trying to figure out who this guy was. I never saw him during the day. The apartment he was in never had any lights on, except for that one window at night. And no one else ever came in or out of the building across from mine, at least not that I noticed. It was like he only existed at night, and only in that window. I even asked my building super about it once. He looked at me like I was nuts. "Nobody's lived in that apartment across from you for years," he said. "The place is empty. Has been since I started here." That really got under my skin. I knew what I'd been seeing. I wasn't hallucinating. But if the apartment was empty, then who the hell was the man in the window? Things reached a breaking point about 2 weeks ago. It was late again, and I had a headache from staring at my screen all night. I tried not to look, but I couldn't help it. I glanced out the window. He was there, but this time, he wasn't alone. Standing next to him was a woman. She was just as still as he was, just as silent, staring straight ahead with him. The worst part? She was standing exactly where I was, like in the window across from me, but perfectly lined up with where I was standing on my side of the glass. It was like looking into a mirror, but with someone else's reflection staring back at me. I don't know why, but that was it for me. I grabbed my phone and took a picture, hoping to have some proof. But when I looked at the photo, there was nothing. No man, no woman, just the window, dark and empty. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a trick of the light. Maybe I'm losing my mind, or maybe there's something more to that apartment across the street. But ever since that night, I've kept my blinds closed. I don't care if it's irrational. I don't care if no one believes me. I'm not looking out that window again. And I sure as hell don't want to see who's looking back.